back. Okay. Okay, so let me go ahead and get back in the code here. Boo! Oh, and let's pop a top again. Remember, for best results, recaffeinate every 4 hours. Mr. Mountain Dew says, open focus. Oh, there we go. Okay, here we are. Now, I was looking at the module ID, module label. I'm convinced that it is not going to be a difficult problem, either to move that entirely into the code, which I'm not clear what I don't understand exactly why it is. So I'm talking about, de-hard codifying things. But the thing is, I mean, it's good for it to be in the database, but it could live in the code. This could, some things are small enough that they could just be JSON, I think we're going to keep it in the database. We're going to keep it in the database. I'm curious. I'm curious if there's anything about it. Like, is this module thing ever queried, for example? Right? So if we look at module.js, it's only ever used by category. That's a new one. Interesting. Resource category. I don't know anything about resource categories. I don't think I've ever used that. What is resource category used by? Create resource. Wait, resources have a category? Categorize resource. Okay. I have never touched this table. I've never so much as looked at it. I wonder what it is. It might be nothing. It wouldn't surprise me at all if it's nothing. It's a thing. Everything has the exact same category. Interesting. Let me check production on that. I'm going to go check production. Is this actually used in production? Yes or no? Tell me now. Thousands of rows. And only the first few are not the same. Let's see. How many are not the same? So let's do where category ID is not. Oh, not equals, duh. You have to do is not for null, right? Or not null, but okay. Is this true? All right, so there are only 2 categories that are ever used. There's something like, there's 7 of them are defined, and only 2 of them are, well, 3 of them are ever used. But one of them was only ever used for a handful of instances in the very early days. So one of the first, but that actually doesn't mean much because this, I think I know what's happening here. Okay. All right. That stays. That stays. Category stays. I think I know why, because this is the type of type system. So what type is this type of thing? Is the question that this whole system of resource category model, it's all the scaffolding for the form generation. And my guess why there's only a few of these are of a particular type, and it was in the early days, is probably because those types were well known early on, and so we haven't added anything to them or adjusted them. It's the individual type as one of the ones was only used in the early days. And there's another one that was used once in the early days, no, a few times in the early days, and then used more recently. Oh, it kills me though. It kills me. There's not a created at on this. So every single table I want a created at. I always want to know, you know, especially if it's structural data like this, you know, when was this thing added? You know, if we added this back in 5 years ago and we haven't updated it since, that, you know, what does that say? It says we may not need it. It might be something we could just get rid of or not have to worry about. Ripple effects, you know, because a lot of times I'm worried, okay, if I change this, you know, how many bugs is it going to create? And yesterday I spent a few hours tracing down something to make sure that if I changed it, that it wouldn't have ripple effects. And then it turned out that it was dead code. So, I mean, I believe the work needed to be done, and it was dead code that was added recently. That's the kicker. But it's one of those complex versus complicated things where the new code made a function very, very difficult to read. What it needed to be was just a separate function, because it just branching a few branches. You know, if conditions were added to some old code to support a new feature of the code, and it made it very complicated, very difficult to understand, because I didn't realize that had already been added. It had already been added and made dead. And so when I'm looking at it to try to preserve compatibility with the thing I'm working on, and I go through, I'm like, okay, wait, how could this condition be satisfied? This seems so weird. This seems like, you know, it's only ever going to happen in this case, but this case was just added, you know, and I trace it down, and I end up going back in the Git history to find out that the complicated code was only added recently. And so I didn't really bother trying to figure out what it did further. I just deleted it because we haven't even shipped that feature yet. So like I figured out what the output of it was, what the format needed to be. But there was some metaprogramming. It was kind of necessary metaprogramming, but it's harder for me to read metaprogramming that's written in something like Lodash. So, okay, I do need to do one thing real quick before I get back to the code itself. Hold on, let me go update this. Whoops. Hold on. Okay. All right. Okay. So, roll was all over the place. It looks like it's not going to be a difficult thing to get rid of that module. That was only in one instance. Partner default. So flow. Flow, we need to add slugs. Module, we need to add slugs. These ones already have slugs. That's the good news. I also wanted to see field set. Where's that being used? Probably all over the place, right? I mean, it's countable. But my guess, if we were to look at this, oh, maybe not. Oh, flat feature. This is, there are about 4 things in the code that are top of mind, 3 at least that are top of mind that are extremely complex in the code. This is one of them. Anything to do with this. Everywhere this is used. Another one, this one is one of the other ones, and that's used in a few places, but not everywhere. And then the thing called finalized transaction. Those things are just through the roof. So and this is why. So here's a template. So check out that template, baby. That's a template. So this gets parsed and interpreted. So the guy who did this, he wrote his own templating language. Oh, bless me. So this is cool. I've actually never seen a string that's this full before. So it's really interesting because but it's one of those things that grew, because at first it was, oh, well, we'll just put some brackets around it. And then it was, well, actually we need to nest it. But at the moment that it was, we need to nest it, should have picked a templating library, I think. I mean, I could be convinced that there's cases where you don't want to pick a templating library. Okay. Choose or create a templating library, because what the problem with this is that the templating language is mixed in with database calls and with error aggregation service, and so it's not just, okay, here's the data, let's put it into the template. It's, as we're encountering this token, then we go call the function that does the thing for that, to grab that token or do whatever needs to be done, and then we continue on. So it's in the, as it's being parsed, the functions are being called to fill the data, and what should happen is, well, it's a little challenging because the template defines what data should be gotten in this case. So it's not, I know what data needs to be here, let me fetch it and then template it. What it ends up being is, I'm going to construct the template and I'm going to pass it to the template system, and the template system is going to go contact the database and grab the data as seen here. So an account ID, list of resources. So what's going to happen is that it's going to take this thing, it's going to go figure out what the company name is by, getting it from the database. And then, yeah. So that's on my crap list of things I really, I don't even know. That's a tough one. But it's definitely on my crap list of things that I want to get rid of if I can, when I can. And I'm not opposed to writing a template library that's just, niche enough for our specific use case. And that could even be an advantage. It might be the right thing to do. But I'm not convinced of that quite yet. I don't know. I have to see more of it. But this is actually the most complete example I've ever seen of what the template string can look like. Because I've seen fractions of the template string here and there. Because that's the other thing, is the template string gets built. And then, yeah. So this system is like maximalist. Well, I wouldn't even say procedural. It's maximalist, no system. That's what it is. This system is maximalist, no system. Okay. Oh no. Yikes. Okay, so this is one of the places that all right, just discovered another one. What's up, Jimothy? Jimothy. What I'm talking about with the template, or the fact that here's all the database IDs, right? So something happens, something gets added to the database, and then there's this. Now, the good news is, I believe it was me who did this. I could be wrong about that. I don't want to give myself undue credit. But the reason that the constants file looks as good as it does is because I did that. I think that I created a large portion of the constants file a little over a year ago. We had an effort, it's probably the second pass at trying to figure this stuff out. Like the first pass was just getting the API tokens and stuff, because before it was in the code, if staging API token equals X, else API token equals production token. That was the code. There was not a configuration. Well, there was a configuration. I think there was a configuration file, but the configuration file was pretty bare. It was just a few items. Now the configuration file is too long, and probably something else needs to be done. It probably needs to be, I don't know what it needs to be, but it is what it is. But I am probably the one that commented a bunch of these. Okay. So what I want to do is replace this with slugs and then have feature type slug. And that, I believe that this table already has slugs, so we should be good to go there. But I'm going to put in my to-do. Whoops. So I'm pretty confident. And the thing is, I need to find the other places in the code that are like this. And it's really, really hard. Most of these lists, they have an ID of 1 or 2. And another thing that is frustrating, and I don't know how to communicate with the person who was doing this. He always reacted negatively, and probably part of that is because I'm an a-hole and I don't say things in a nice way. I come across as a know-it-all and very prescriptive of this is what we need to do. I'm not good at, getting buy-in and, hey, don't you think that it would be nice if, I'm not good at that. So anyway, I was making a bunch of changes to the code base, and of course it was breaking things that he was working on because I was making changes across the entire code base. So one of my big efforts with this code base was to implement a system-wide error system so that anywhere we got an error, the error eventually got funneled into the error handler so that we didn't have... So basically what was happening is everywhere there could be an error in the app, there was a, if error, res.end, or, res.send, res.json, whatever, right? And that makes it impossible for you to aggregate your, and there, yeah, the error handling was a mess, and it made it really hard to track this. So I made hundreds of changes across the code base. I used a tool called Combi to help me make swaths and swaths of changes. And, you know, it really, it messed up stuff that he was working because he had a lot of long-lived branches, and he didn't make the branches. He would just, on his local computer, he'd be working on stuff. So I wouldn't see it. So one of my things is, if you're working on something, make a PR and just label it WIP, right? You know, if you're working on something that's going to take more than an hour, just start the PR for it so people know that something is in progress and these are some files that could be, you know, stepped on. But he was working in the code base all by himself before, so, you know, he didn't have to worry about that. So I was a major inconvenience when I came on the team. And then, anyway, so I'm pretty sure at the time that this file was created, I had already done the pass, removing the hard-coded IDs from the code, putting them in the constants file. And this is just something that, you know, kind of happened frequently, and I don't think it was malicious. In some cases it might have been, because, you know, sometimes there was a little bit of, you know, but I don't think it was malicious. But I would have just finished fixing a category of problem, because that's kind of how I've attacked the code base, not in a feature perspective, but in a category of problem perspective. Occasionally in a feature perspective, but a lot of my contribution has been refactoring and stability. And that has yielded fruit. But, wow, this is all stuff that could have been in the database. I'm not actually upset that it's not in the database, but I would like it to be in more of a fixture file. But this is, yeah, okay. Legends. I wonder why that's like that. Vesting schedules, to proper case. Okay, so let me get through to the end of the file here and see. This is an interesting one. I think that it should be in a JSON file or in the database. I'm totally fine with it being in a JSON file. It's okay for the database to be something that rarely changes, and then when it does, a developer needs to do something about it. I'm okay with that. And this one, I think that this actually is, in a way, in a sense, I think this file is also another template system. I think that's what's happening here. I could be wrong. But I think that all of this is being built up to create an Excel file in a particular format. You know, I think that we have ordinals in JavaScript now. I think that this is perfectly fine. I don't have any problem with this function. This function looks good. Okay, yeah, this looks good. Oh, other than this thing right here. That's not good. That is not good. Just var every time. If you need to minify, which we don't because we're server side, you can minify this stuff away, right? But, yeah. Anyway. Yeah, I just basically any IO, you know, if you're going to send an email, almost all that, any rendering, any IO, all of that should be down in libraries. You should be collecting all the data, render if you need to, then pass to the email function. And I'll say should a lot, of course, too. Whew. That's not good. I mean, I guess it's fine because legally these companies are required to have LLC or Inc. But this should be something about the database. Like, is LLC, is incorporated, or, you know, company category. So I don't know what all this is, but I know those are database IDs that need to get out of here. And I know that this is the most complete example of the template that I've seen. And I'm suspecting that the spaces are probably not necessary. I don't know. Okay. Base PPA. Oh, price per share. That's probably what it is. Par value. Yep. Okay. So this is one of those weird tax things. So this only recently have, like, this right here is kind of why SaaS exists, and 83B elections. That is what has made SaaS possible. It's one of the instruments that has ruined capitalism, because your starting share value can be nothing. Then you can get an election to not have to pay taxes as the share value increases. So your share value goes from being a millionth of a penny, or whatever that is. You get $1 million of investment. You would have to pay taxes on your increase in worth. But if you had to pay taxes on your increase in worth, you literally couldn't get investment, because you would be paying taxes on the majority of your investment. Plus, then you'd be paying taxes again. So you could only either have small investors, or you'd have to start out with your company valuation. You would have to buy into your company. So when your company started, if you're going to have 1 million shares in your company, then you'd have to put in $1 million to buy those shares in your company. So this 83B election thing and the par value essentially makes it so that you can undervalue your company when you start it, and then overvalue your company when you get investment, and not have to pay taxes on the gain in your net worth. Without that little bit of legal hoop jumping, SaaS companies would not exist. You would actually have to have a profitable company that had a product that served a customer in order to build a company. So I'm actually not convinced that it's a good idea, because we see the result of it. Yes, there's lots of big companies that have definitely increased our convenience that we have in life. But then instead of the customer being in control of the company and voting with their dollar, the board of directors, they don't need customers. They just need investors. And that leads to a lot of perverse incentives and weird things. And yeah, you will have you must have a sustainable business in order to operate your business without that little tax trick. And I don't think that I'd be upset if that was taken away. And yeah, then investors would just, I wonder what it would do. It would be a really weird thing, because then imagine if the majority of all money that was invested went back to the government, which actually kind of makes sense, because this is one of the things that inflation comes from. Oh man, this system is so tricky. It's so tricky. There's so much nuance to it. But one of the things that happens is that the government prints the money, or they have another independent company called the Federal Reserve print the money. Anyway, they print the money. The government sets the interest rates, essentially. Essentially, the government sets the interest rates and prints the money, essentially. They do it through the Federal Reserve. But so that money that gets printed, most of it goes to venture capital, right? Banks and venture capital. So you, as the end user, the citizen, you are paying the taxes for the banks and the businesses to get money printed essentially at a low interest rate, essentially free. And then, and then if something goes wrong, you pay the taxes to bail them out. So it's not really a capitalist system at that point. It starts to become a little bit more like perversely communist, because the government is actually funding, and then you get this leaning where politically, like why do so many tech companies lean left? Why do so many tech companies want big government? Well, follow the money. Where did their money come from? Who essentially owns them? Whoever you're paying the interest to, So anyway, it's, it's interesting stuff. It really is. Okay, admin schedule. Wait, but then I also have flow, because isn't that the same thing? How is project template different from flow? Flow. Project template. Okay. Okay. So these should have been next to each other. That doesn't need to be. Okay, so those were just not organized correctly. Okay, good to know. Okay, so I want to take a look at status, submit, status, and to-do. Okay, status is relatively easy. Submit, let's see what submit looks like. A little bit more out there than I would have thought. And I'm going to go check this again, because I think I need to identify any of these that would realistically change without code changes. All right, select star from submit. There is no submit. So what is submit type for? Oh, there, it tells me right there. Okay. Describe outside form. Okay, close loop. I see it. I see it. Okay. I'm going to do select unique from select distinct, not unique. Distinct close loop from outside form. All right. It is 0, 1. So basically it's a Boolean. That's just true or false. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean the loop is closed or that it should close the loop? What does that mean? Okay, so this is a bool. This is a bool column. That's really what this should be. So I am totally okay with just the problem is the MySQL driver does not do the true false thing very well. So we couldn't go back in there and fix that. All right, to-dos all over the place. All right, do we have a to-do type? I think it's called recommendations. All right, select star from recommendation type. Very few. Okay, cool. That one's pretty easy. So I just need to go through these and add slugs. That's going to be step one. I also want to check out the other file because it might actually end up being easier than this one. Oh, and then this one, hold on. Recommendation level. Is that a thing? Indeed it is. Okay. So almost every single one of the IDs has been pulled out of the database. All right, so for consistency, we're going to change the name of this. We're going to find out where this is. We're just going to change the name of it to flow. Which is probably not the right name for it, but let's change one or change the other. So boom, 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 boom. All right. Oh, so pretty much everything was just in that one file too. Okay. And what was the other one? It was resource type and workflow template flow. Oh, and then partner default. I don't know if we actually looked at that one or not. Let's just check that real quick. Okay. It looks like it's used in only 2 places. Account project. Util transaction, and then where it's defined. Okay. All right. So cool. So all of these need slugs. That's going to be the next thing to do. So next thing is slugs for everything in source constants. Index.js. That's how it's actually spelled, y'all. It's to-do. That is the actual spelling, not the programmer spelling, the real spelling. Okay. All right, now here's where I crap my pants. When we open this thing up, that's where I crap my pants. The triple dot syntax is so weird. Push, concat, whatever. Name split maker. Ah, crap. Okay, good. So name split maker is only one place. That's good news. And this is used in relatively few places. Relatively few instances. Oh. Where not in. Oh, crap. Forgot about this basic thing. I don't know what that means. I think that it's in the file that we were just looking at, though. I think there's a basic one. A basic 19. Okay. All right. Looking at it like this, I get a little bit better of a picture of what's that for. Let's do context. So A, B, and C, capital A, capital B, capital C on grep and rip grep is context. So A is, actually A is context after, B is context before, and C is context on either side. So if I look at this like this, then we can see 2 lines above and 2 lines below where the thing is used. I don't even know what that means. Query. And the front end's going to have to get updated with all this too. So all of our maps that are ID maps, we want to transition to slug maps. I think this will work out. I think if we, for everything, there could be 2 possible keys. A key that is strictly a number or a key that is a slug. So we'll put that in the same map and we'll have it return the ID. That way, when the front end uses these, the front end can start transitioning over to the slugs as well. And the front end will be able to just put in 1 or 2 slugs. You know, if you got a list of 100, you just put in a few. And then when it's submitted to the server, it will still do the right thing. This one with the name map is going to be a little bit tricky, but not too tricky. Also, man, there's just a lot of the stuff that's so context sensitive. It doesn't need it. Like I am post ORM, and I think a lot of people are. I think it's more and more common these days to be post ORM because. I mean, this isn't really one of the core reasons, but this is just one of the happenstantial reasons, is that people put a lot of business logic down in the ORM. And it kind of makes sense because, oh, this should happen right before this thing gets saved, or, anytime we save this, we want to do it. So put it down in the ORM. That way, when we call save, it's always done. No, format the data at the entry point. If you have 10 entry points, then you copy that format function in 10 places. The interface, the API, the interface, the wall where data comes in, that's where especially any nuanced transformation needs to be done. And I can't remember exactly, I can't articulate exactly why that is. But this is kind of a part of it. Is that, I'm sorry I can't give a good example on this off the top of my head right now. But this is an example of it. So this has logic for parsing a name. So if you update a name, it goes down to, it goes deep into the code, and then it decides, oh, you want to change the name of the company. Okay, well, we need to split out the different components of that, like the LLC, whatever. I mean, one thing that should just be on the API facade, right? That you have the company type. I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure the reasons why it's done the way it's done, but the company suffix just should be a company suffix, right? And a name of a person should just be that name broken down. I remember why this is done. Because of the way that the concept of an individual or a company is a meta concept in this, because it was born out of a form builder. It's got that very WordPress-esque style database where there are large portions of the database where there's just slush data, where it's data where the value is a key and into the other part of the data. So we have a multi-layered database essentially. Very WordPress-esque. My Mountain Dew is sweating bullets. Anyway, let's go down a little further. Oh, whoops. I went all the way down, it looks like. Okay. All right, so we're up here. I was going through here. All right, so here. Yeah. Hey, everybody, how's it going? Okay. All right. So this shouldn't be too hard to transition. Okay. So I'm gonna look at the. There was this one. There's one more place, and actually, I'm gonna go ahead and rename this from res name map to resource name map, just so that we're consistent. Everywhere we use the module, we want to use it with the same name, because then when we need to refactor stuff, it's much easier to go through the code base and find that one name rather than having to deal with two names. Okay, so now everywhere that this is required, it has the same name, right? Oh, nope, not there. Okay, so we'll do that one too. Do I want to do it that way? Whoa, wait, what just happened? What? So, okay, something weird happened. Hold on. Okay. Oh, res map. Got it. All right. Okay, so we got one last file to go through as part of this analysis phase today. And that's the task state changes. Oh, and thank heavens. This one is not crazy. This just needs to go somewhere else, I think. Okay, so is there anything crazy here? I don't know. Let's go check it out. Let's go see how this is used. Okay, this seems very much tied to the logic of the form post. Okay, create timeline event. I'm pretty sure icon is never used. Let's check on that. All right, let's look at it this way. All right. Okay. I'm going to check both the staging and production database and see how and if icon is used. All right, select distinct. Is it icon from task timeline? How about select count? No, that's not what I want. Was it group by icon? Okay. Another thing I got to be careful of that I need to check on is where these might be hard-coded on the front end. Let's see. I think it's going to be under app. Okay, that's old. All right, cool. So how about module ID? Oopsie. All right, let's see where he's using icon. Oh, darn. Dot icon, maybe? Okay, I don't think he's using icon. But let's see about this module ID. Let's see module ID. Okay, let's look at 7. Just standalone 7. Okay, maybe views. Interesting. 7's a magic number, apparently. Okay, module dictionary. Okay, so he is... Where's module dict set up? Module dict. It's not what I was expecting. Oh, okay. So this is module. This is not the same type of module. Not at all the same type of module. Okay. Let's just look for ID. Okay, account ID, that's reasonable. All right, role ID. How long is this list? It's pretty long. Okay, let's filter out user ID, account ID, and partner ID. Whoops. Okay. So resource ID is fine. Those we wouldn't have slugs for. Dang, is that... Hold on. Still quite a bit. Okay, impersonator ID, account task ID. Task ID is probably fine. Stripe, token ID, yeah. Room ID, okay. Get rid of that one. Really what I'm interested in is probably mostly type IDs. All right. So let's get rid of file ID, room ID. What do we got left? Okay, we get rid of document ID. But you know what we can't get rid of? Project ID. Well, maybe we can. No, account project ID is simply their instance. Okay. We can get rid of feature ID. Okay, so module ID. I see module ID is in there. So we got resource type. We can get rid of transaction ID. But it's things like role ID that I'm looking to catch. Template ID, role ID, type ID, any of that for sure. We can get rid of token ID. We can get rid of report ID. We get rid of project ID. and impersonator ID. Yeah, this is the stuff that this is what I'm talking about right here. That's the nasty. Because until we gotta get rid of the database IDs on the front end and the back end. Obviously. I hope this is a test. It must be for a test. So basically what I want to do is make it so he should be able to get access to all of the relevant types just from an API call. And there's another place where we got to do this too. So what I want to do is well, I don't know what the right term would be for this, but I want to say greenfield deploy, but that's not really the right term. But I want to do just a fresh deploy from scratch and insert all the data into the database as database fixtures. So we do the deploy, we run the fixture loader, and I mean, this is something that's really, really rough though, because there is so much, even in the migrations, that depend on a particular ID. I mean, if I just look for, let's say 15 in our migrations, let me go back over here. I mean, boom. So what's going to need to happen is that we're going to need to export the current schema of the database and wipe out all of these migrations and do a create or replace. So there's going to need to be a meta migration that's like the 2024 zeros all the way down. That just migrates the database, does a create or replace on every single view, every single table, and just brings the database up to a particular level. Even with this, there's no possible way for us to deploy a fresh database, because these migrations were created with the idea. I mean, let's see. Do we have any? Yeah, I mean, we've got them. No, not that one. Not that one. So I wonder if we have any in 2023 that are like this. Let's search for IDN. And we'll do database 2023. Migrations 2023. Okay. So we could quite possibly, I don't know. I think there needs to be a 2024 migration that just brings the database up to speed. We'd probably just have to manually change the table. I'm going to put that in my to-dos here. And the tough thing about this with the views is that we've actually had views get into an inconsistent state between the different databases. And then you got the collation issue to deal with, that basically collation needs to run on like every freaking database start. So collations cannot reliably be done in a migration. Because what happens is when you restore your database from a backup, it just chooses whatever collation. And collation usually isn't a problem, but it's a problem with MySQL. Because usually your collation is going to be UTF-8. But if it's any, MySQL or MySQL derivative, then your collation is gonna default to Swedish. And that's going to cause problems for you in sorting. It's going to, oh my goodness. We've had the strangest problems. I remember there was one that we took a couple of days to figure out why something, it was I don't know, it was not grouping properly or whatever. And I think it ended up being the collation between the databases. I mean, we've had numerous problems with MySQL and collation over the 3 years that I've been on this. It's popped up multiple times. So collation needs to be something that every time you start up the database, you set the default collation regardless of what migration you're at, because if you restore from a backup, and it gets obnoxious. Okay. And we got to get rid of that flat feature view. Somehow we got to get rid of it. That one's also been trouble because it does something like n cubed. There's a situation we get into where we join against that table and it starts taking whole seconds for a single query. And it's because there's places where the integers are not of the same type between the tables. So one of them's an int, the other one's a big int. And then there's also places where there's columns where instead of having a flag to say, okay, this is of this status for the purpose of the join, the ID is concatenated with a leading character. That needs to be done in code, not in the database. I mean, because you can do those type of comparisons. I think the reason for the comparison is valid. I think that it would be better off as probably being its own column with a Boolean flag. Certainly in that view, that's what it has to be. But I don't remember the reason for adding the letter to the front of the ID. But let's say that there's a valid reason for adding the letter to the front of the ID. You cannot do that in the database because it changes the type of the number, which means that now that entire virtual column cannot be indexed or referenced from an index, which means that you are now, you know, if you have one of those n-cubed loops, now you're comparing everything against everything else. Yeah. It's not good. And the flat feature column is very wide. Okay. So it looks like we don't have any of that recently, which is good. All right, so what was my last thing here? Okay, create timeline events. I wanted to get to the constants. And I'm not really, I mean, we could put this in the database. I'm not sure what this is connected to. It seems like it's connected to something. Ah, okay. Let's see, awaiting quote. All right, let's take the most recent version of this. Account task. Okay. So it seems like this should just move into the database as well. Okay, so I think what happened here was I think I see what happened here. I think I'm okay with this. So let me go take a look at account task. Select count from, whoop, what's going on? Oh, it's doing that thing it does sometimes. All right, 6,925 on the dev database. So I think that means that is user data. Yeah, okay. All right, so let's describe account task. Why would we need the description? Are we copying it everywhere? Where do we need this? Okay. Okay, my... Let's see. There is one thing from those notifications I want to check on. Let's see if this is a quick thing or a not quick thing. Okay. Okay. Hold on one second. Independently. Okay. Let me get back to this. So I'm looking at... Oh, I wanted to look at describing account task. Okay, status ID. Yeah. Hold on. Okay. Sorry. Spaced out for a minute there, looking at some messages. Okay, so I don't think that, well, responding to some messages that I don't need to respond to. I don't see a description in here. I do see a label, but I'm guessing it's not the same label. So let's go look at the code again. Okay, was it create timeline event? No. What was it? Task state changes. I mean, again, this is probably just fine, but I want to make sure, because we could just move this into the database, or we could move it into perhaps a fixtures file. It is tightly coupled to the database, so I feel like it needs to move into the database, because the awaiting payment, where's the task state changes? Okay. Um, Okay, I don't know. All right. Sorry, I got again. Okay, I need to get out of this channel. This is not the right channel for me to be in. This is not related to this work. I'm wasting time. Okay, okay, moved out of that channel. Sorry. There's just okay. I shouldn't have even engaged with those messages to start. All right, so what was that? Okay, I was looking at okay, task state changes. All right, there we go. So, what is this doing? Where is this inserting? Where is it using the label? So create timeline event. So it's using the label for a timeline event. Is it using the description anywhere? Because label makes sense, description does not make sense. Or whatever that other thing was. Hold on. Let's look at the state changes again. So we have label, we have icon. Oh, okay. So it's relatively small. So yeah. It's just duplicate. It's not that big of a deal. Okay, but I do have the strong opinion that because this thing lives in the database, the key that's being used, rec.body.state, comes from the database. I mean, it gets passed back through HTTP to come here, but it is tied to what's in the database. Therefore, these things should be in the database too. Oh, that's weird. I wonder if we need to change that to paper OS. All right. Is there anywhere else these are used? No. So it's label and icon. That's literally all we're using there. Okay. All right. So we can put those into the database and then grab them back out. Don't use English in the database, please. All right, so I'm going to put that on my to-do. All right, so with that, I think I've gone through everything. Like, this has been my discovery process. And the question is, can all of these static fixtures be moved? Remove all of the hard-coded IDs be removed from the code? My answer is yes. Looking at this, all of these can be removed, and I want to do it. So let's do it. Let's see here. So first thing I'm going to do, that's pushed. Switch back to feat v1 API. Get rebase ref constants. Whoops. Huh. Oh, weird. That's not good. So we're saying this gets deleted. Get user list data. Get user list data. Oh. So this was just moved in this file. Is that what I'm to understand? Get user list data. Okay, let me go check the PR for this so I can see what changed. Okay, res map. That's what I thought. That's what I thought it might be. Well, this is weird. This can't be the only thing. Oh, it may be that this was a duplicate function that was deleted. Okay, let's expand the whole file here. Because I think what we're going to find out is that get user list data was a function that was accidentally pasted twice. Okay, so we're going to get rid of it twice. Got it. Okay, so that makes sense. Okay, yeah. So we just get rid of that one that was in there twice. That's all. Oh, man. There have been so many changes to this file right in this area. Holy goodness. So what I did was I lifted up these IDs in a few different places. Because this function, again, it's so much better to do breadth rather than depth with your functions. Because it does make them easier to reuse, but it makes them easier to change. It makes it easier to have new functionality without complicating what's already working. You can, shape your input, create a new function, shape your input, pass it into the function that you have. I mean, assuming that that's your final shape of data or whatever. I mean, there are definitely cases where you don't do that. I'm just saying that it's so much easier to have to call two functions in 7 places than it is to call a function once and have slightly different logic for how the function is supposed to respond based on options that are passed in from 7 different places, which probably aren't 7 different options, but might be. I mean, even if it's just one different option, it can make a big difference, especially if it's called the same way in 6 places and then a different way in 1 place. Then that's, it's even more confusing because you go look at stuff and it's like, this is never used. This must be dead code, or something like that. It's just harder. Okay. So all right, let's make sure. I don't think anybody's pushed anything. Okay, get rebase. We're gonna abort this. No. Okay, this is just the same thing again, right? Ah. Yeah. Okay. All right, so we're going to redeploy staging. And I'm going to start the good work here. So let's switch back over to ref constants. I think I'm going to build on this. Well, wait, I can break this into separate if we need to later. So I'm going to go ahead and get into let's see. I want to diff against Beat V1 API, particularly the database. I really just want the names. Can I do one line? I forget. Can I do one line here? No? Oh well. Is it -1? No? Okay. Okay, I'm looking at... I'm kind of looking at it in reverse. So red is what's new, and green is what's old, I think. Yeah, that looks right. So red... There's probably a way to do a reverse diff. Like, I wonder, what if I just pass -R? No, -- reverse. No, how do you, invert maybe? Inverse? Invert? Okay. Get diff reverse. Oh, okay. -R maybe. Ah, there we go. Okay, good. So this is what I want to see. Because most of these changes... Alright, so really... Alright, so we got 20, 23, 10... You know, honestly, I'm going to have to make this a separate... it's going to have to be a separate branch. And the reason is because of the database changes. Okay, so the first file to change is going to be the last one we looked at because this is relatively simple, right? We're just going to we're going to move this to a fixture. Do we have DB fixtures? Seeds? It's not really a seed. It's not seed data, but it's fixtures. I'm gonna call it fixtures. Okay. So, how do I want to do this? We can do it as JSON. Let's see. npx connects, migrate, make. Task. Slug? Where's task slug at? No? Okay. Okay, let me... I also need to just look at the structure of the database. I need in here MySQL export DB schema. What's the quick way to do that? This is how you win right here. This is how you win. You write excellent documentation for your competing product. You make better documentation than your competitor. That I see Prisma. Thumbs up on Prisma. Doing the dirty in the right way. Doing the Lord's work, as we say. Okay. Let's see. SC 1091. How's it going, everybody? What chat say? That's the wrong way to do that, but we're going to leave it like that for now. The problem is that puts it in your process list the entire time the thing is running. If you were to do top, you would see the password in your process list. So it's kind of a dumb way to do it. Just reading the PRs? Cool, thank you. Okay. Oh, whoops. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and just run this on the dev database real quick. Unknown option, no data. What? Oh, it's MySQL dump. Okay. All right, let's fix that. Get commit amend. Okay. So now I forgot why I did this, to be honest. What was I doing? What was I in the middle of? Because I wanted to look at the schema to determine a thing, but I don't remember which thing I was trying to determine. Well, I'd just go forward, I guess. I mean, if I needed it, ostensibly, I was going to create some database fixtures, and I was thinking about, oh, I need to do this thing. So, okay. Oh, I remember. I wanted to find out where task slug was coming from. Okay. Account task slugs. I don't know if that's slug in the same way that I was thinking of it. Account task slugs. It's a view. Okay. What? Select star from account task slugs. It's quite a lot of them. Well, not that many. Maybe a couple hundred? I'm not really clear what to make of it. Probably have to look at the definition of the view. Because what it is, I don't know if this is an array column or if it's a JSON column separated by spaces or not JSON, but just a regular string column. But it's not related to what I'm doing now. And I could do that little trick I was showing earlier. So I've got my... I got this thing right here. I'm going to see what, if anything, references or uses that. See what relationships... Oops. Nothing. Okay. Account tasks. I'm spelling it right. Okay. So as far as I can tell, nothing uses it. So maybe we're going to drop it. Let me see if anything in the code uses it. So what I'm seeing here is that it is defined, but it is never used. That's what I'm seeing. I'm going to double check on that. Do we have any created at in here? No, we don't have any created at. But, I mean, a lot of them have been created recently. I don't even know how they could be created. Oh, right, because it's just a view. Okay, I'll ask. Let's see, how old is it? 2020? I think I'm just going to do one of my favorite things. Oh, wait, this is called task slugs in the code. Okay, let's take a look at that. Oh, okay, never mind. It is used. In two places. Prerequisites. Okay, never mind. Never mind. It is used. Well, barking spider got in the shed. Oh, git commit, no edit to save, to skip saving the old commit message from your defined editor. So here's the problem with that, David. Is that that's one more thing that I have to remember. And it's a lot easier for me. I mean, think about it. Think about the number of keystrokes. Think about the number of keystrokes, right? I either have to hit escape :Q, or I have to add -- no edit. Now, if I was using VS Code and I had to wait 6 years just for the thing to load, definitely would be worth it. But if I was using VS Code, I wouldn't be the kind of person that would be using git amend now, would I? All right. There we go. You solved my problem. I'm doing it. So now I can type git amend. Sometimes. I don't know. I don't know if I'll actually use this for that reason. For me, I'd rather... I am a RISC processor, reduced instruction set computing. I would rather have fewer processes that I can go through very, very quickly than have more processes that have slight advantages or disadvantages. It's all about muscle memory for me and small brain space. So give me the fewest number of commands that I need to do the most things. Don't give me the most number of commands. I would rather do more commands with fewer commands, run more commands with fewer commands, than run fewer commands with more commands that I have to be aware of the nuances of. Oh, bless me. Okay. How's it going, everybody? Y'all be, don't be afraid to say hi now. Okay. Sudo JS. That sounds dangerous. That's a very Unix-like philosophy. Yeah, well, I mean, in reality, how much stuff can you hold in your brain, right? It's just... my head's not big enough. I have to have a large breadth of knowledge to do the things I do, so I need to have... You know, for each category, I need the fewest things possible, like the 80-20. Okay. And I am more and more of a fan of just use the sequel. I think, okay, this is what would be cool. Is if we could switch to a different migrator in 2024. Do database migrations. I mean, use maybe one of the Go migrators. Let me do the search over here. I don't know why I was starting the search over there. Okay. SQL-based migration tools. I want something that's written in Zig or Go or Rust. Oh, it's Java. How about... This is something I would use Zig for. I would write a database migrator in Zig. No, not Go Releaser, dang it. Go Migrator. Gotten to the point that I actively avoid tools written in Java unless they're the last option available. Yes. But also just things that have a dependency. You know, like a database migration tool is not something that really needs a dependency. Oh, this is the fork? What? They should have given this a, to be fair, they should have given this a different name. If you're going to hard fork, give it a different name. And this is also something where I really think what this ought to be is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different binaries. There should be a Goose MySQL, Goose Postgres, Goose PG, Goose Lite, whatever. Because the problem is the dependency creep and the size of the thing. Okay. Yeah, see, you have all these tags, know this, know that. But okay, let's take a look at it. Okay, I think that I was talking earlier about we need to export the schema and then just reboot it. Make that be migration number 1 is create table if not exists. And quite possibly we should do that from the production database. Because I think the production database has some things that never actually... It probably has some temporary tables, or not temporary tables literally, but tables that were created temporarily to test something or whatever. Okay, I appreciate that. Not writing a whole SQL parser, but just... Yeah, okay. Anybody got any questions or thoughts or anything? I enjoy when we interact more via the chat, because it's cool. It's enjoyable. Okay, does anybody have a recommendation? Let's see. Recommendation for a language agnostic DB migration tool. Goose, for example. I'm going to put that in a couple of places. Oh, I should probably say SQL based. Hold on. I think I might go with Goose, but I'm open to other ideas. It seems like this is a really boring problem. See, that just doesn't feel right to me. I just let's see, connects to a DB and execs them. Let's see. Okay. Okay. Let's see. We do have TinyGo, right? On Webby? Yeah, we've got TinyGo. Ah. Okay. Anyway, so Goose looks good to me. I think I'll probably use Goose. If somebody else has another recommendation, if there's like a let's see, let's go to Awesome Zig real quick. I am excited about Zig, by the way. I'm excited. So we're gonna have a meetup tomorrow. I think people are actually gonna show up. Let's see. I need to post in the Utah channel real quick. Let me bring that up just real quick. Oh, I do need to do this. I need to get back in touch with him. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Oh. Let me get back on the train here. Okay. I just want to see. I'll check out both of these lists. Looks like they've got an awesome. Okay. Okay, so no migration tools, it looks like. Oh, there's too many channels in the Zig Discord. I can't find where I was. I think I was in programming discussion. Okay. Okay, Flyway. So somebody recommended Flyway. Okay, I'm going to give it another look. Because maybe I missed something. Maybe it's simpler than it seems. Install. How do I install it? I need Docker? Oh, no. So I'm saying, oh no, not Java, not GUI. I just need something to read. Migrations, starup.sql. And go from there. But thanks for offering a suggestion. So I was curious if anything is better than Goose. All right, so cool. Yeah, we'll just go with this. So for now, the reason I went down that road is because I don't want to be writing JavaScript. I just want to write SQL. You know, it's just. And Prime talks about this too, so I'm not the only one. And it seems like a lot of the other people that are at his level, I think the world has turned that less complexity is better. If you have to learn the thing and the abstraction of the thing, then just learn the thing. If the abstraction's really valuable and you can just learn the abstraction, learn the abstraction. But if just learn the thing. Okay, so let me go. I'll probably look at the brand migrations. That's probably the most recent one. Was add brand. Create table. Yeah, there we go. And then drop table there. Yeah. Let me just do this. And then I'll just trim the fat. So drop table if exists. That should be every time. Because when you're going backwards, yeah, okay. Anyway, do I call it enum? Because it's kind of weird. So I want a slug. And then I kind of want the slug to be the primary, actually. So I just kind of want to switch these. Like this one. Okay. So let's bring that up. Let's bring this one down. This is the way that it is presently. So I don't know. Do we call it label? Because it's not called label. That's the thing. It's literally the enum. I'm going to go with ID. Enum, I don't know. So label and then icon. All right. Low-hanging fruit here. Oh, come on. GUI's always better. Especially if you have to run your tool in a container. Yeah. Whoa. But yeah, I'm excited about Zig. I think that's. I'm looking forward to using it more and more. I think the more I use it, the more I'm going to find use cases for it. And you know, Caddy's going to have to be my web server still. I'm not going to be, but well, I got two. I have two problems. TLS is not in the standard library, and I don't want to use TLS that's not in the standard library. That's one of the reasons I never got into Rust. I believe that TLS will make it in the standard library. Correction. I believe that TLS is in the standard library, but not implemented enough that it could be realistically used. So what I might need, which is actually okay, is I have S-Client written in Go. And so I could just have S-Client unwrap the TLS connection going out, and I can have Caddy unwrap the connection going in, and then I think, you know, I don't know if I really want to write a web server in Zig. I don't know what I'm talking about, but I want to use it for more things, for sure. More things than no things, for example. All right, so what are we calling it? This one is task state. Task states? Task state? Is that what we're going with? Oh, that's the other thing I needed to know was I'll finish that thought in a moment. Okay, so we have account task, account transaction task, feature task, transaction task. So I think this should be account task state. I think that's what it is. Because I think that's the only place it's ever used. Let's see. We're not going to do ULIT on this. I'm going to go to for those following along at home. I was drilling with sarcasm. Yes. I think GUI tools have their place. But for most developer tools, nope. Agreed. I wonder why this is like this. I don't know. We're going to take it to plaid, though. We're just going to put it in this migration. No, we're not. We're not going to put it just in this migration because it does need to be a fixture, because if we're doing the next thing, okay. Let me somebody else is there. Okay, my question was not clear. Is clear to me. My question was like, for a statically compiled hold on. Okay, Goose. Postgres. URL. Migrations. Hold on. Let me see what Goose actually looks like. Duh. Okay. Okay. It's Postgres. And then dir. Okay. Okay. I'm going to go back and edit my question in a few places. This is... I'm updating my question. In a couple of places here. I think I'm just going to go with Goose, but... just so that I can ask my question better. And get potentially better answers. Let's see. Updated question. Okay, so this is my updated question, just so y'all can see too. Sorry, because I can't type and speak out loud at the same time. So my updated question: any recommendations for a standalone CI tool, i.e., statically compiled for DB migrations using SQL files, like Goose, for example? What? Yeah. yeah. I laughed pretty hard when I searched Goose and hit the realization of what I actually searched. Yes, I do that. I've been to laugh because I've been there too many times. 250 megabits over LTE. That sounds pretty good. That's. I mean, that's in the range of fiber for sure. Okay. I mean, it looks like this fits the bill. It looks like it does the things I need it to do. So I'm gonna consider that for the future. But I guess I just prefer something that's smaller because it seems like a simple task, right? It doesn't seem like, and it seems like Rust would have this too. It seems like Rust should have a better CLI tool. Actually, I know just the person I should ask. I'm going to text him real quick. Well, I'm going to blank my screen. I'm going to blank my screen for just a second, just in case this comes up on the wrong window. Okay, and we're back. Because occasionally my text messages come up over here. Oh, yikes. Let's see if I can find this guy. No. Okay. I got something I need to check on in the real world here soon. Somebody got in a car crash. One of the neighbors. I'm gonna have to... Or... word on the street is. It looked like. Any recommendations for a CLI tool? thought you might know of one written in Rust. Okay. All right, so back to this. Let me at least get this thing in here before I have to go today. But I'll be back tomorrow, and so tomorrow all day I expect to be working through these one by one. Now that I've done the discovery and feel pretty good about it. Okay. So what was I doing now? I was... Okay, this thing. Ah! So I think this is kind of a better way to go about it. Whoops. 1, 3. I don't know what the best way to go about it is, though. Maybe I just want to put it in SQL? I don't know. Can't think too much about it. Oh, you know what? Maybe when that needs to be... That doesn't... We could do JSON 5 is what we could do. That's what we could do. So that way we can support comments and stuff. Okay, can we get... Why do I not have highlighting for JSON 5? Can somebody explain that to me? What do I need to do to my Vim config here? So I had this working at one point. Let's just try this again. All right. Okay. File type is JSON. Syntax is JSON. I don't know how the JSON 5 thing, things do it. Because I actually don't want the file type to be, well, we'll see. Yeah, syntax I want to be JavaScript. File type I want it to be JSON-esque. I'm not sure. Okay, because it's not loading. Okay, so that's not working. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going on here, because it seems like that should work. Maybe I have to do file type as JavaScript, but then it's probably going to do the other things I don't want it to do. like unquote things that should be quoted? Okay. All right. I think so we're not going to do this. That was working. I don't know why it's not working now. Oops. Okay, so let's do this. And it's going to be a lot of these. Oh no, that's not what I wanted. So I don't want it to get rid of the comments. How do I do what I'm trying to do, folks? How do I do it? Okay. Should I just use VS Code, maybe? It's okay. I'm going to do this, but the thing is, I wanted to have a... I want to be able to comment these out, because I don't know what they're for, but we're not using them. So, I mean, I guess I could just prefix them like this, and that's fine. And I'll just ignore things with prefixes. There we go. Okay, so we got that. So we therefore we got rid of that file. Okay, and then we need to add the migrations. Dang it. What? Okay. So I'm going to need to rename this as well. Let me go ahead and do that real quick. Okay. So, yeah, that only had those few columns, right? DB fixtures, description, label, icon. That's it. Do any of them have a description? None of them have a description. And, you know, I'm actually going to go back on this with the naming of it. And let's just go straight for the table name. Which normally I don't do, but in this case... well... we'll keep it kebab. Okay, because then... Wait, was it state or states? State. Same as the table name. So maybe I should keep the underscores, just keep it directly with the... Okay, let me see. You left a whole bunch of messages there. You're in Virgins. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's kind of... I mean, there's not a whole lot there to obstruct a... It's not... There's not a lot to obstruct a cell signal either, right? Let's see, Virgins... I mean, I guess there's a lot of trees, but don't they put the cell up high? Because it's... I mean, it's a more... honestly, I do not remember my route. If I went back to Vermont, I probably would not know how to get around to anywhere. Because it's been so long. I mean, when I go to Virginia, it's not the same Virginia that I grew up in. You know, the cities, the malls are torn down and built back up, and you know, everything's different. And I imagine that Vermont is somewhat the same way. I don't actually remember the route to Virgins. I seem to remember that I'd get sleepy on my way back home from work, and that there was kind of nothing and just kind of trees. But I don't know if I'm remembering that right or not. I don't really remember it. You deleted your code up model and went to run it and just started pulling. Yikes. Okay. That's, okay, there goes your data for the month then. Thanks again for the OS switch for ZSHRC. That's worked like a charm. Good. I'm glad. I'm so used to piping to PB copy on Mac when I'm at work that I've aliased to the X-Cell nonsense. I don't know what that is. What was the syntax highlighting? Worked. Maybe you should use VS Code. Pretty high up in Virgins. Just thinking we didn't have a backplane to support that speed. Okay. I don't know about them backplanes. I used aeroplanes. And then let me go check one of the backfills. All right, it's going to be like this. Okay, 4. Well, first of all, let me go. No. Okay. For let for state of account task state. Oh. Account task state insert. Okay, so if state draft continue. Okay, how do we do connects MySQL on conflict update? I think it's different for MySQL. Okay, is this MySQL? Wah. See, I think this might be Postgres only. All these people are sane. Oh, and then we also need the timestamps, duh. Hold on. Table timestamps, true, true. Always timestamps. Every time. Let me look at the documentation for this again. Okay, I'm going to have to go in a bit. Nope. Connects.js. Use timestamps, default to now. Use count case. Okay. I need to go back to this one. On duplicate key update. Let's try this. Connects on duplicate key update. Huh. Okay, here we go. On conflict merge updates. Okay, great. So it does abstract that away. Excellent. Because this is actually something that, well, I don't plan to use this in the future, so I guess it doesn't matter. Insert state on conflict merge. So on conflict, slug, merge. Hey, what's up, Freeze? So I actually want to get away from all of the ORM stuff. I do not like objection. For a while, I really liked it until I started using typed JavaScript, and then I hated it because its type definitions are absurd. So I could check out Kaisley and see. Okay, just query builder? Okay. I don't know. I can't switch this project. The fact that it has that seems all right. I don't know. The problem with the query builder, I feel like you got to go the opposite direction. You've got to write your SQL. SQL C, I think, has the right approach. You write your SQL, and then you generate your JavaScript and your types. Because I imagine that this won't work with JavaScript. It only works... Well, maybe it does. I don't know. But I have a hard time believing that this would work with JavaScript. And I'm not doing TypeScript. I love types. I do not like TypeScript. JavaScript types work pretty well on their own. Provided that you have good tooling for it. And the TypeScript checker it's okay tooling. I mean, it's the best thing we have. I think we could have much better, but it's what we have right now. Okay, so we've got this, and so sometime later, I want to create a JavaScript adapter for SQL C. No, it's not the SQL template literals. I want to actually generate the types from the SQL. I don't want to go the other way around. I mean, it's not a good fit for JavaScript. You know what I'm saying? I'll take a look at it. I've wanted that, but in the end, I just feel like SQL C is the right tool. Let's see. Playground, get started, recipes, other runtimes, generating types. Okay. Okay, this is interesting. Okay, this is interesting. I'm going to bookmark this. I'm not seeing it. I think this was generated with TSDoc. How's that feel? Okay, yeah, that's what I would expect. I've seen this before. So there's one called Slonic that works like this. And I've enjoyed Slonic. Slonic. That's weird. SQL raw. Why is this wrapped in SQL raw? What? What? That's so retarded. Literally retarded. That's backwards. That just doesn't make any sense. What? Why? What? Unchecked inputs. Input is not checked or escaped by Kaisley in any way. But that just... What? No, that's wrong. That the whole purpose of having... Okay, I'm turned off by that entirely. That doesn't make any sense at all. It should escape it. I don't want to have to... That's the thing. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to get into the hosted thing. So, are we saying that... Oh, okay, so raw, right. Okay, never mind. It's saying the raw. Raw, okay. So the string, if I don't do raw, then the string will be escaped. Okay, I just read that wrong because I was looking for a raw string, but the whole thing... Okay, all right, never mind. It's okay. The world is an okay place again. All right, anyway. Yeah, the top example shows the magic. Okay. All right. Yeah, I keep that in mind in the future. We'll see what we'll see what the future brings. Anyway, enum label. Oh, and then I need to do for this one fixtures. We need to have the enum in here. So enum is, let me go check this out. All right. This is the enum. So let's say incomplete. We're not going to do it. Pending, we're not going to do it. Processing, yes. Completed, yes. Oh, duh. I need to just turn this inside out. Flagged, awaiting payment, awaiting quote, redlining. Okay. All right, so all of them are there. So what I need to do then is require this. I just need to block this music's. I never liked that one. Okay. And then what do I need to do? Var keys equals object.keys stuff things for let key of keys var thing equals stuff dot enum enum equals key things thing dot enum equals key things dot push thing things. All right, there we are. And let's just do JSON.stringify null2. There we go. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Let's console.log that. Okay. That's what I'm expecting. Now we transformed it. All right, and I kind of want the enum to be incomplete here. Okay, there we go. And then I kind of want to put draft at the top of the ones that are draft. Okay, great. So that's done. Oh, what am I working on? So I am... Let me see if I can look at the PR. So this is work stuff. This is a work project. And currently it is not possible to stand up a new instance of the application. The application is several years old. It's been built on and built on and built on. Over the 2 years that I've been working on this, I've slowly been migrating all of the hard-coded IDs out of the database and into first we put a bunch of stuff in constants and then went around and everywhere that, because there was a lot of IDs that were number one, because a lot of the meta stuff, it's a form builder application, for a questionnaire application. It's for doing business filings and legal documents and hiring and that sort of thing. So it's a form builder. And there's a lot of things in the early days that were ID 1. And all in the code, there's all of these, if, you know, thing ID equals 1, do this, do that. And now, you know, some of the IDs are up into the thousands. But there are throughout the code base, there were just random numbers, just anywhere. And it's just like equals 37. What the heck does that mean? And so I got almost all of those into constant files, and now I'm going to move them actually into the database. So I've earlier today was my exploration of, okay, can we actually get this stuff moved over? And I concluded after several hours of going through the different files and looking at things that it looks like it's in a place where we can. And so now I'm doing it. So my goal is that tomorrow we will no longer have constant files. Everything will be in the database, and there will be a few things that load on initialization of the application. Oh, and it is dinner time. Okay, I've got 5 minutes. I need to finish this. I don't want to leave this in the current state. Okay. So if state draft, continue. Otherwise, insert the state on conflict merge. And then the other thing that we would need to do is we need to find the place where account task state. Oops, task state. You know, we can split this up into 2 different commits. One commit, so we can undo this. Yeah. Okay. So we'll leave that alone. We'll remove that later. First, let's just get the table in. Then we'll make the other necessary changes. And I got to get some other stuff. I really want to move away from objection. It's not possible. So I probably just ought to keep using it. It is presently not possible to move away from objection. It would take it's so much work. I mean, we would rewrite the thing in a different language. It is that integral, I think. Okay. So this is something I want to be able to run again and again and again and again and again and again and again. What in the world? Okay, so let's just do this. Git commit -m, and this is going to be feat add account task state table, except these are going to be underscores. All right, I am going to create the pull request for this. And this is going to be whip. And I want to base this off of v1 API. And then I want to sync over, let's see. Oh, I should put that in as a separate commit. That's fine. Or did I? Oh, I did. Okay. Jerry the Barking Spider came out. Had to mute for that. Do y'all have barking spiders where you are? They're the worst, man. All right. Let's sync up database fixtures and migrations like that. That seemed like that was more than I was expecting to move, but whatever. It's just got timestamps wrong or something. Okay. Oh, slug does not have a default value. That makes sense. What in the world? Okay. Maybe unpaid, needs payment. Payment pending. And then what do we have here pending? I don't know what that pending means, but we don't need to worry about it. Okay, payment pending, quote pending. It seems like the icons should be, in the UI stuff, not in the database. Whatever. Okay, so incomplete, pending, those aren't even going in any way. Processing, it just seems, how is that different from pending? Completed, complete, I think complete. We'll stick with completed because it keeps it mostly the same. All right, let me try running this again. Okay. Can I do an if not exists on this? I'm going to just try that and see if that works. I don't think it will, but I'm going to try it. It seems like if we got the drop if exists, we should have the create if exists. Okay. All right, I'm just going to have to drop the table. Okay, so we're going to undo that change. That doesn't work. Okay, so I'm just going to do drop table account task state. There we go. And then run the migration. Okay, looks like it worked. So now I'm going to select, select star from account task state \G for good measure, and everything's there. Good. Okay, cool. Look at that, David. I used your alias. All right, well, it's time for me to go. So thanks for the good times. Catch you later. Let's see. And then, hold on. Oops, hold on. What's going on here? I gotta do one more thing before I sign off today. Let's see. Oh, whoops, hold on. Not bad. Okay. Okay. You think you smart? I mean, why wouldn't I? I'll go with yes on that one. All right, but I gotta go. Have a good one, y'all. Have a good one, Anastasia. Sorry, I'm leaving just as you're dropping in. But like, sub, follow if you want to. Catch you next time. And I'm out. Peace.